Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer, the Divine Feminine, reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. Thank you for clicking on my clip. But I want to let you know that I have a free ebook linked below, my 6 Divine Feminine Self-Love Strategies. They will help you transform your emotional wounds into personal wisdom. And I take a multidisciplinary approach. I include the laws of physics, psychology, neuroscience, shamanism, mysticism. I went wild, okay? So men can understand and women can understand. There's something there for everyone because what I learned is when something's true, it's true in multiple places. All right, please like and subscribe and help me distribute my ebook to everyone for free by exploding my channel. Take care. Enjoy the clip. Bye. Okay, so first, just know I did it myself first. I started on my 45th birthday. My mom passed away. A few weeks prior, I went out to Florida. I live in California. She had moved there, and she was an alcoholic. And she had brain damage from the encephalopathy from the brain damage from the alcohol. And so I brought her home, and she saw everybody. And then early in the morning on my birthday, June 25th, she passed away, and the hospital called me. And right after that, I went right back to sleep, and her soul came to my soul in a dream and thanked me for all that I did. Thanked me for respecting that she didn't want any tubes, because at that point she was incapable of swallowing. She is grateful that I honored her wishes to bring her back, that I did so much to be her medical advocate, and she was beautiful. She always had her hair done and makeup. It's just like, there's my mom. And I felt so grateful to interact with my mom. And then afterwards, after I woke back up in the morning, my intuition told me it's time to accept your intuition, time to accept my psychic gifts, and it's time to heal from my childhood trauma. Because at that point, I became the matriarch of the family. Now the whole family is in my heart, and I wasn't an alcoholic. I've never been an alcoholic. I get physical hives when I drink alcohol. I'm physically allergic to alcohol, which I'm so grateful. um, I started to heal. I started to learn how to go into my emotional pain and come out of my emotional pain. 4 years later, I was ready to go into so much emotional pain that I attempted suicide after my brain told me that my kids would be better off with a dead mother than a live one. And I survived, and through my healing journey, which we'll get into, I brought out my shamanic gifts. And then in March of 2024, just 5 years later, I experienced enlightenment for the first time. And what that process tells me is that life is like jumping on a trampoline. We have to explore our depths to catapult us to our heights. So the deeper you go down to that trampoline into your fear, guilt, and shame, the more propulsion you gain to propel you to your next enlightenment experience. So this is why, as souls, we plan to take on so much emotional pain, is because the amount of emotional pain we have is equal to the amount of wisdom we have the capacity to withdraw from that emotional pain. So if you want Mount Everest-sized wisdom, you got to take on Mount Everest-sized emotional pain, and that's what I did in my life. My core insight: you are a soul operating a nervous system. Like Einstein said, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. The field meaning the energy field, the particle meaning the body, the nervous system. Our heart, our souls, our energy bodies communicate out through our hearts, heart and soul, and we'll see a video about this later. And then our heart sends far more signals to our brain than the other way around. About 90% more signals, nervous system signals, come from the heart that go to the brain. So the nervous system in the heart is far more complex than the brain. So if the soul has fear and it communicates fear out the heart, then the fear communicates to the brain fear, and the brain releases cortisol. So this is why we have to start with the soul, because at the field of epigenetics, epi meaning before, the genetics has proven that less than 1% of our diseases come from our genetics. Less than 1%. Meaning more than 99.99% of our diseases come from our soul, come from the wounds in our soul. And we'll get into all that science today as well. But as you probably realize, if you don't know how to operate your soul will operate you, and that's an unconscious person living in fear, guilt, and shame. We're multidimensional divine beings. No fear, guilt, and shame necessary. Okay, let's be honest about what's going to happen today. I'm going to share my multidisciplinary sources of wisdom and knowledge. I'm going to do a deep dive into how I healed from my childhood trauma and explain how to implement my self-love strategies, my free ebook, into your life. And I'm going to reveal my recommendations for other DIY trauma healing techniques. And if you'd like more assistance in your trauma healing, way at the end, we're going to discuss how to work with me one-on-one. But really, I want to get you all of these DIY techniques because this is a daily process. This is an hour-by-hour process. So knowing how to do it at home without constantly leaning on a therapist is my true goal here. Help as many people as possible.